The world economy's fragile recovery from the COVID-induced crisis is now threatened by Russia's war in Ukraine and soaring commodity prices. Here are 4 questions regarding the risks to global GDP. Will growth stall? The war happened right at a time when Europe and the US had a recovery that was going really well. Projections in Europe were among the highest in the last 20 years, said Jacob Kierkegaard, resident senior fellow with the German Marshall Fund of the United States in their Brussels office. In just 2 weeks, the war has had a material impact on the economy, European Central Bank Chief Christine Lagarde said Thursday, revising the growth outlook for the Eurozone to 3.7% for 2022, from 4.2% forecast in December. The war and sanctions, which include a U.S. ban on Russian oil imports, are raising prices of energy and other key commodities like wheat, fertilizers and metals to surge, International Monetary Fund Chief Kristalina Georgieva said. That comes on top of already high inflation, Georgieva said. We got through a crisis like no other with the pandemic. We are now in an even more shocking territory. Credit rating agency S&P has cut its projection for global growth this year to 3.4%, a decline of 0.7 percentage points over its earlier forecast due to the expected slump in Russia's sanctions-hit economy and rising energy costs. Moreover, the cost of hosting Ukrainian refugees and budgetary aid will cost the European Union €175 billion, $192 billion, economist Jean Pisani-Ferry from the Paris-based Bruegel Institute think tank said. I don't think that global economy will go into a recession, said Kierkegaard. But he warned of the threat from stagflation, persistently high inflation, combined with high unemployment and stagnant demand. Why are prices soaring? Inflation has been rising worldwide for a year due to COVID-linked disruptions in supply chains, leading to a spurt in the prices of raw materials which have raised production costs. The war has sent oil and gas prices soaring, threatening to worsen inflationary pressure. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell told the U.S. Congress that every $10 hike in oil prices would impact growth by 0.1 percentage points and add 0.2 percentage points to inflation. The United States recorded 7.9% inflation in February, a new 40-year high. We are facing an oil shock, a gas shock, and an electricity shock. This has never happened together, said Thomas Pellerin-Carlin, director of the Jacques Delors Energy Institute. Apart from oil and gas, other key commodities have been affected, with prices of aluminium, nickel, and wheat skyrocketing. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday warned of inflationary pressures worldwide as a result of the Western sanctions on his country. Several key industries have already been hit, with several steel plants in Spain shutting down due to high energy prices. Millions of households are finding it more expensive to travel, heat their homes, and bring food to the table. The price of bread went up enormously since the war began, said Omar Azam, a Cairo resident, referring to a 50% hike in a country which is the world's top wheat importer. More stimulus on the way? Nations launched huge stimulus programs to prevent their economies from crumbling after the pandemic emerged in 2020. But government are loath to dig much deeper into public finances. Aid will likely be more targeted. The G7 group of industrialist nations, for instance, has called for massive support to households slammed by energy costs. Emerging nations, however, will be more fragile and vulnerable to inflation and even political instability, experts warn. Is COVID still a threat? While many countries are easing COVID restrictions, China has been doing the opposite. The world's second biggest economy on Friday locked down Changchun, a city of 9 million people, to control a fresh wave of coronavirus. If such measures continue, they will hit the world hard, warned Kierkegaard. The Chinese economy will slow dramatically. China will shut down whatever they need to shut down, he said. It is as big and unknown as the war in Ukraine because unlike Europe and the US that are able to live with COVID, it is certainly not the case in China, he said.